Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 20, the Big 2-0, the ARF situation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great edition of our Thursday Big Chill Podcast, where we're going to give you the best picks of the week and hopefully bump up our against the odds and money lines picks, because according to Eddie and Sam, I am still in the dumps. But before we get to the NFL, let's say hi. So, Sam, I do want to start with at least one point of pride for me. The Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup in 6 games. So we both correctly picked the Lightning, and I picked the series. I did not actually tally up the total goals, which was the next tiebreaker, and that one I think you might have been closer to. There was a lot of goals scored, at least not in that last game, but the games before there was. So, but overall, Sam went 9 for 15 in his Stanley Cup series in his NHL playoff series picks, and I went 10 for 15. So not a bad first year for the Squid picking the NHL. What do you have to say for yourself?
I mean, it's the fact that you said you're proud of beating me in these NHL. This was to have the very integrity of NHL on this podcast on the line, and you scraped it with a game that won in 6 on the Stanley Cup final. I'm not sure if proud is the word. I think relief is probably the word.
Relief. Well, I guess the other thing too, I mean, maybe Eddie can chime in here, is 10 out of 15 versus 9 out of 15, is that an indication of I scraped by, or that I picked pretty decent, picking, 66% correctly, but that in Animal from the Sea, in Sam the Squid, was able to pick over 500%, or over 550%.
500%, wow.
500%.
500%, yeah. I mean, there's no shame in your record. That being said, I'd have to kind of look at it, because the downside for Sam, right, is at times he picked relatively large upsets, like an 8-1, things that a normal person wouldn't have done, and he cost himself. He would have beaten you.
But those worked out for him in the NBA. Right?
In the NBA they did, yeah, but we're just talking NHL here, right?
No, I know, but I'm saying, it's kind of the luck of the sport, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, no, coming in with no knowledge means that you don't get, you aren't influenced by seeding that may not matter at times. But we'll see. We're also, NBA may be worth mentioning that the Heat absolutely destroyed. The Lakers absolutely destroyed the Heat in Game 1 last night. Covered the spread easily, so that keeps me alive in the contest v Sam, seeing as I needed to cover the spread 4 times. So at least that's that. Now, the downside is kind of what happened, what I feared would happen did happen. So now the spread for Game 2 is higher than the spread was for Game 1. So I'm facing a situation where they end up just not covering because the spread gets too high, but still they just look miles better. And I will also say, because we made our wild card picks on Monday, a couple of the series are already done because they're already over sweeps. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And it was only 2 games, right? So they played back-to-back days. But the Yankees swept the Indians, and Game 2 last night was a really good game. Yankees won 10-9. But the one really worth mentioning, I said that the Astros going through was the result that baseball deserves, and the Astros swept and are through.
Yeah, they did.
And I saw some of the Astros players, because basically after the game, they were consistently asked, no one wants you to win this. How are you going to deal with it? And basically every player was like, we know nobody wants us to win, but they're just going to have to get used to it. They're going to have to deal with it. So
you might as well you might as well just own the identity now, right? If people know you as
guess. The thing that bothers me a little bit about it is kind of when you hear them talk, they don't acknowledge the fact that the only reason people hate them is because they cheated. They kind of treat it like, oh, people hate us because we're good, or people hate us because of some sort of semi-irrelevant factor. It's not the fact they're ignoring the fact that people hate them because they cheated, and as a result of their cheating, won a World Series and made it to a World Series.
And threw the game into disrepute.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what else can they do at this point, though, either? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty obvious that they did what they did.
I think
moved on.
Surely be humble about it. Just be like, look, we accepted what we did was wrong. We're just trying to move on the way we can, which is win games truthfully and honestly and just keep going. Like, that would be at least a humble statement rather than this kind of like what Eddie just mentioned then, where it's like, oh, they better get used to us really annoying everyone every time we win.
Yeah, too. Also, you might even make the point if you're one of the players, like, well, it's a real shame because we actually are a really good team. So maybe this is proving the fact that we didn't need to cheat. And so this, in a way, this almost makes it look worse, right? Because they were a really good team. And so, maybe they would have won the World Series anyway. And so maybe if you were a player, you might use this as an opportunity to kind of make that point, which is, yes, we cheated and that was wrong. And now looking at the fact that we can win without cheating, it's almost worse for us because we're going to get, no one's ever going to give us credit for being good now. Was
every player in on it at the Astros? Because you know how like some people can cheat, say for example, like cricket, they can do ball tampering or the like deflate gate with the Pats and the Colts. Like not necessarily every person has to be in on it, but was like the entire Astros team in on it?
Unclear.
I don't think they've ever proven who was and who wasn't, but it was pretty clear that a lot of people, like there was a lot of different people at bat when the infamous drum sounds were happening. So you'd have to assume a majority of them were in on it.
And the video sort of where they were analyzing the calls, those were the signs. Those were like right as you went through their dugout. So even if you were a normal player, you might have just been like, hey, why do we have TV monitors like right when we leave our dugout and like two interns sitting there like analyzing like live film? Like, why are we doing this?
You'd have to be massively naive, wouldn't you? Like some guy going, oh, why are we banging on a drum here? Like, why are we banging on a bin? I'm going to join them and bang on this bin as well and just really
ruining it.
Yeah. Just turns into like the Blue Man Group.
Yeah, it's like our thing, guys. When we're losing, we hit the garbage cans.
Yeah, or it's like the crowd gets wind of it and it becomes, like the Houston crowd thing. Whenever they're down, they all start like drumming on the drums. Now, like they can't recognize it.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe if you were a relief pitcher or something like that, you could argue that you weren't aware of it. But definitely, I think every hitter, every like non-pitching player on the team, they must have been at least somewhat aware.
Yeah. And I'm guessing you would have, I mean, me personally, if I wasn't involved and then learnt of it, you would leave the team immediately, right? I mean, I don't know if that's possible contractually, but...
No, it's not. And you still want your salary. So
why would you leave the team immediately? You're probably going to hit better than you did all other season.
No, I mean, after you found out, Muppet. Like, if you didn't know, like, would you want to be associated? I'm not sure.
If I didn't know I wasn't getting the benefit, then yeah, probably. Because you have to assume some of these guys hit better and probably got more money in future contracts because of it. Yeah, and then there's this poor guy who's like, thanks for the heads up, man. I was in a contract year. Could have used an extra 4 home runs.
Altuve won an MVP, right? So they even discussed, like, should he be stripped of his MVP when they know he was cheating? So that's an interesting, it's kind of falls into that like Armstrong debate from the Tour de France kind of idea.
Whatever happened with that officially?
There's no winners in the years.
Oh, so here's actually a good one. Now that I have my last day to basically talk about hockey, on the podcast I listened to, there was an ex-professional hockey player who has started cycling a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean just probably has a decent bike that he takes around Arizona for 20-mile rides or something like that. He argues with a year's training, he could complete the Tour de France, not be competitive, but just complete it in like the allotted time. So like he'd have to do each stage in each day sequentially throughout the days. You know what I mean? Like he can't take a 7-day rest and then do stage 4 after, Yes.
But does
Is
he
it
mean
possible?
does he mean under Tour de France regulations, right? Because you have to finish within the time. Like I think you have to finish within 2 hours of the winner of the stage finishing. Otherwise,
I don't think that.
You can't just like roll over the line at 11:45 at night and be like, "Cool guys, took me 12 hours, but I did it."
And started at like 12:30 in the morning that day, and you were like, "Oh, that was a tough 20K."
I would say probably not that stringent of the rules, but just the fact that he would start and be able to finish, within that day, and then do the next one the next day, and so on. Because it's 2,000 miles total.
Depends on the
right?
year, but
About
it depends
that.
a little bit, 2,000 to 3,000. Yeah,
And it's how many days?
21 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So he was just arguing in general, would he be fit enough with a year of training to be able to complete it?
No. I mean, his big issue, right, I'm assuming as a former hockey player too, he need to cut weight pretty significantly would be one issue. So he's probably looking at needing to lose like 10 kilos to even give himself kind of a hope of pushing himself up some of the slopes.
That's 22 pounds for our American listeners.
We have friends, right? Like, we have friends who cycle pretty seriously, and what they do in the Tour de France is they have usually a stage that you can do. Either I think it's after the Tour de France has been completed. They allow you to do like the exact stage. They organize like a stage race, and it's usually one of the climbs. So either in the Alps or the Pyrenees or wherever. And even these guys who like cycle 5-6 times a week and take cycling pretty seriously, they struggle to complete that stage. So to imagine doing that and then doing it, and then the next day having to do it conceivably again, I just think.
Yeah. I think that's the hard part. I mean, you could maybe do 2 or 3 of them in a row, but then once you're getting into, stage 14, 15, having to just day after day hit these climbs and these distances, there's no way.
But also, is he doing it? Are they doing it in isolation as well, or are they doing it within the Tour de France? So with the
he would go to France and do it.
Oh, he would just do it in isolation on his own.
But Sam also touches on a good point, which is part of the advantage you have in cycling with other people is you get to draft, and that reduces your wind resistance by 30%. So it's a pretty significant impact over the course of a stage. So if you're literally just cycling it by yourself, you are going to have to increase your effort by 30. Well, say sometimes you're at the front, but say he's going to have to increase his effort by 25% compared to a professional cyclist who is, an athlete sort of born to do that and dedicated their life to it. I would give him literally zero chance.
So who was this guy?
He's one of the podcast people for Spit and Chicklets.
Okay, send him a tweet or something and just say, could you answer these questions for us? Because the big chill's coming.
Yeah. Wait, well, this is the issue. Can one of you step up and be the challenger for our podcast? And we could see who could compete, who could win further? Should we hire on Big Dave as a consultant? Is he our best chance of like a close friend?
I think Lance Armstrong's looking for work. We could...
Yeah.
Big Dave, if you're listening, we could use your help right now in promoting our podcast.
I mean, here's the thing is I would happily challenge him because I would give myself a 0% chance and him a 0% chance. So I know he's not beating me.
He's pretty fit though. He stays in really good shape.
I don't
Is
doubt
the metric
that.
Is the metric just being ahead of the other person or completing the Tour de France?
I think if either of them completed, I'd be fucking astonished. Yeah. I'd be way more astonished if Eddie completed it, to be honest with you.
I'm just imagining him not on like a tour style bike, but on just like a normal bike. I didn't have the time to buy a bike. So.
I would take
Sam, I have the best image. I have Eddie getting on his bike and starting, and his hat flying off. Oh no, my hat!
Yeah, he didn't do his helmet. He didn't put the strap on his helmet.
He has to go back for his Oakland A's backwards cap as he's trying to ride out the Tour de France.
In fairness, I did do so for my 21st birthday. At the time, my mother was really into cycling. She'd like cycled across India and cycled around Cuba, and she'd done Cuba with my sister. So she thought, as a birthday present to me, on the evening of my 21st birthday, there was a cycle round London. So it was a 100-mile bike race. And she signed both of us up for it. And I did absolutely zero preparation for it because I was just like, if my mother can do it, then I can definitely do it. And I was I was at university, like in 21 years old, in good shape at the time. And I turned up. I had my normal bike with like mountain bike tires, with like mountain bike tires on it.
BMX.
Which was insane. And I was like, how much difference is this going to make? And then as soon as you take off and the people fly from the start, you're like, I'm in trouble. And and we started going around. I was kind of dropped by the people like who were actually racing. And then my mother was just kind of tagging along with me to kind of keep me going. And there was one stage about 60 miles into it where I really wanted something to drink. And there were, you know, kind of like a normal race. There's people along the way with
like a beer.
Bottles. No, just water
that
you could pick up. And so I was like, we kind of went by one of the checkpoints and I said, like, when's the next like water bottle stop? And the person was like, oh, just around the corner. It's like 500 yards. So I was like, okay. So I tried to power to get there. Went around the corner 500 yards. Get there, no water bottle stop there. And another person standing there was like, where's the next one? Yeah, they were like, where's the next water bottle stop? They go, oh, just around the corner. Another like 400 or 500 yards. Power through, no one there. I was like, please, where's the next water bottle stop? Just another 500 yards. Just keep going. Do it then. I get there, still no water bottles. And I go like, when's the next water bottle stop? The person was like, just another 500 yards. I hopped off my bike. It's like, you might think you're motivating me, but please stop fucking lying to me. Just tell me exactly where it is because I can't keep going through in these disappointing 500 meters. And they were like,
they
okay.
Probably looked at you. They probably looked at you or like, this poor guy, he's on like a normal Huffy bike. He's not going to make it. He needs our encouragement.
I can imagine.
Again, I just picture you with the backwards like Oakland A's hat, just like next water break. Where's that?
But also, I could just imagine like the person going, "Oh yeah, it's just 500 yards down," and then as soon as he's gone, just ringing the next person, going, "Oh, I just told this guy there's a water stop where you are. Just tell him there's another one further down."
Sam, and then they're like, "Which guy?" And they're like, "You'll know when you see him."
You'll know. Yeah.
He's not even pedaling. He's got his feet on the ground and he's pushing the bike.
I'm not Fred Flintstone, Frank.
Oh, that's so good. The image I have is the perfect image.
I've just got the Fred Flintstone one now. Someone put like a giant bottle of water in the car so it turns over.
That's funny.
But for the record, I did complete.
Well, Eddie, the other thing.
What time did you get?
I can't even remember.
They stopped the clock.
Yeah,
I didn't.
You've still, they opened all the roads again. It was the day after, and no one knew it was any different.
No, that was the thing. Is no roads had really been closed apart from a couple key roads that were quite easily done, that don't have high traffic. But like a lot of it was just open roads, and that's why it was in the middle of the night. So that there wasn't, but there was the nightmare period because I think we set off at about 11, and then we went through quite a busy part that had like pubs and clubs around it. So there was this moment when people were leaving, like kind of getting turfed out of clubs and pubs, and they just heckled us as we cycled along. So you just had this moment of, unlike the Tour de France where you have people running alongside you and encouraging you and helping you get up that hill, we had people drunkenly shouting at us and abusing us. It was really pleasant.
Wait, I've heard some pretty bad things at the Tour de France, though, like where they throw stuff
funny.
at you and things like that.
No, those do happen, but generally people are just into cycling and trying to support people. They're sometimes stupid. They get way too close and stuff.
Yeah,
but fundamentally,
isn't it that one, the Pyrenees or something, where it's like really windy up a steep hill, and they get like super close. You only see like a 2 or 3 foot between either sides of the crowd. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, and sometimes people touch them and stuff. But yeah,
Eddie, you were also mentioned. We have several friends who are serious cyclists. To me, the definition of a serious cyclist is someone who has the clothing. How many outfits do they have to be considered serious? Is it just one, just like one full getup, or do they have to have multiple? You think to be serious?
I think 2.
2.
Because I think to fall into the serious cyclist category, I'm assuming you're going on at least 2 rides a week. And so you need 2 outfits.
Yeah.
You
Two nice wind-resistant outfits.
Do you have one, Eddie, where it's just like an all-in-one Lycra?
No, I do have old Lycra from my
He wears his
rowing bike.
badminton outfit.
Yeah. So I do still have
With
my
the A's hat and a back.
With the white
With the
short
really-
shorts and a backwards A's hat.
And the pulled up white socks and the white
Where's the
trainers.
fucking water?
I do still have my rowing Lycra. So if you want, I'll challenge him and I'll tell him that I'll ride on a mountain bike in my rowing Lycra that's now built for someone about 25 kilos less than I currently weigh. And just the sight will put him off. I'll win at the starting line.
That's 60 pounds for our American friends.
Stop saying that. The internet exists. They can work it out.
I'll go this far. If you don't know what a kilo is, stop listening to the podcast.
Yeah, because the next hour is all about weights of measurement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't even get me started on stones.
Oh, God.
The British system's a mess. We decide to just use everything. But anyway, the podcast is not about this.
Maybe down the line. We transition into a metric system podcast. So I will do one more hockey thing I want to get in.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm just going to...
Well, you've earned the right to keep talking about it, so I guess...
Exactly. This is my only day.
Here's your 1 minute corner.
But we've agreed
my
this
1
is
minute
it
corner.
now. This is it till the season restarts. We're done
Okay,
now.
my 1 minute. Okay.
Okay.
So the first thing, I'm disappointed we didn't ask Sam to randomly pick who the MVP would be because it was the closest race in the history. We were just going to give you a list of names and have you just pick one of the names. And the guy won by one place vote more, which is like the closest ever. They went like 9 first place, 8 second, 1 third, and the other guy went 8, 8, and 1. So that would have been funny to see if you had picked the closest race in history. But the other thing, I won't actually get into any of the stats about the Stanley Cup or whatever. But what was cool was I thought it was kind of surprising. In Florida, they decided not to have a parade, which considering Florida, I thought, oh, for sure, they're just going to go have a parade, no masks. What they did have was a boat parade. So there's this canal that the stadium is basically on. It's like a little river canal kind of thing. And a lot of the players have these huge houses on the canal, and they all ride their jet skis around and stuff like that. And theoretically, you could get to the stadium by riding your jet ski from your house to the stadium. So instead of doing a normal parade, they did a boat parade. And it was pretty cool. It was just like all these boats going down and these guys just ripping beers and drinks on the boats and like throwing beers to the people on the sides and stuff like that. So that I thought was kind of cool. I've never seen that before, a celebratory boat parade.
Well, they do it in Boston every time with the duck boats.
With the duck boats. That's true.
I mean, literally every Boston championship does that.
That's true. But this was a little different. This was like...
Yeah, it probably had more style than a duck boat, but still.
It actually kind of had less. It looked as if my parents and all their friends one day wanted to have a little parade through their little lagoon that their houses are on and just got all their normal sized boats and just loaded coolers full of beer. And we're like, we're winners. In fact, I think my family's probably done similar stuff to that just on a Saturday night.
Well, now that
I
you've
thought
rounded
that was
off
kind of cool.
That was it.
Now that you've rounded off your hockey coverage for the year and you're riding the high of having beaten Sam in the picks contest, time to bring you right back down to earth with an update.
I didn't beat
your
Sam, Eddie.
NFL. What?
I beat Sam the Squid.
You did
I
beat
didn't
Sam.
beat Sam.
Oh, sorry. Well, now let's see your actual contest against Sam, because last week was improved for you, but you're still a little bit behind. So straight up in the sort of money line picks, you went 9, 6, and 1. Sam had a rough week. He went 8, 7, and 1.
Yeah.
And I went 10, 5, and 1. And then against the spread, Frankie went 10 and 5. Sam had his first losing. Sam had his first.
What do you
losing
guys
week
talk
in
like I do
second.
so bad? Every week you guys just talk like I do so bad, and I went 10-5 against the spread.
Yeah, it's good this week.
Well, the thing is, we really told you did badly. I said you were doing badly at one moment, which is the thing that saved you was you got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game right, and you also had 3 of the 4 afternoon kickoffs right. So if you're
So I'm a late day picker.
yeah, your performance for the Thursday and the early afternoon games, you were not looking great at the kickoff for the late game.
Yeah, before our Bills on our tracker before the Bills game, the only thing that stopped you having 0-4 in both games was the Eagles-Bengals tie.
So literally the one game you couldn't have picked wrong.
Yeah. How did you guys do against the spread?
So I went 11-5, and Sam, as I said, had his first losing week at 7-9. So that brings our overall records. I'm now 26-21-1 against the spread. You are 24-23-1 against the spread, and Sam we've caught up a little bit against Sam, and he's now 28-19-1. So still a really good record for the season. But the interesting thing with you, Frank, is you're close in the spreads, like you're not too far away, but money line, you're not doing so well. So money line, you're still, I'm 34-13-1. Sam is 33-14-1, and you're 28-19-1. And it's quite interesting that you're not that far on the spread picking, but just straight up picking winners, you seem to struggle with a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is it actually corresponds to my normal betting, because I'm pretty good at hitting the teasers when I'm playing against the spread and teasing it versus just picking up, like, I usually do one teaser bet and then one where I'll pick 5 or 6 winners, and I never win that one. I never win the straight up winner one, but I do win the teaser one usually like every 3 or 4 weeks usually. So it kind of makes sense. I'm just not good against, I think because I bet with my heart sometimes when I pick who's going to win, and it kills me.
That's nice.
That's very sad. But
well, it's more hatred, not heart.
After next week, we'll probably be able to do some fairly solid analysis, because with 4 weeks of records, we can probably then start to look into our own picking trends and where we go wrong and where we go right. But at least anyone following us is doing okay so far.
Yeah, I think that's probably the mark, isn't it? That we've actually all got pretty decent records here. It's a pretty good start. 3 weeks.
I mean, all 3 of us to be above 500 against the spread through the 3 weeks is good. And then obviously both Sam and I are above. We would be profitable if you were betting an equal sum of money on every game. You would have made money if you just followed every one of our picks.
There we go. So the takeaway for week 4 picks is follow Eddie and I, not Frank.
Yeah.
Unless you want against the spread.
Or maybe Frank's do. No, that was against the spread.
My afternoon. Just follow my afternoons.
Yeah, you follow you in the late games.
Yeah. I mean, should we get into it then? Should we have a look? Because I'm excited to talk about I'm excited to talk about the Thursday game. I mean, we were treated to the Dolphins Jags. Now we've been treated to the Broncos Jets. And do you know what makes this special? Is the Jets are 1-point favorites.
Wow.
I mean, you know what, Frank? You kick us off. Do you think the Jets justify this bonanza of a game as going off favorites?
Well, my main note for this game is not worth talking about. And my next note is glad I don't have to waste my Thursday night watching this shit game. Because normally I'll have to, I end up just spending my late afternoon watching these games. But I'm not going to watch this one. I have no interest in it. I don't think the Jets should ever be favored this season. I understand the Broncos aren't good. I understand they're starting a second-year undrafted quarterback who at least has family ties to a decent quarterback in his father. But I cannot go with the Jets. They just look terrible. And I guess my reasoning for picking the Broncos would be the Broncos defense has maybe looked average at best, but the Jets offense looks way, way, way below average. So on that terms, I'll take the Broncos in a 17-16 thriller.
I think the over-under is 40, so you're going under in that epic. Okay. Eddie?
I am going to take the Jets. I think, the Broncos just missing so many key players on their third or what even maybe be their fourth string quarterback. I'm not picking that guy to win an NFL game. So I'm taking the Jets. Yeah. At the same time, actually, the Jets blitz a lot, and they actually do get a reasonable amount of pressure on the quarterback. So I think when you do have someone who may not be very comfortable in the pocket, I think that's a bonus for them. I also think one of the things is the Jets are awful, but they have actually played quite a tough schedule so far. So they may not be quite as bad as they look, but they are bad.
Yeah. I'm actually agreeing with Eddie on this one. It's pretty depressing to put the Jets. This is probably the only time we'll ever say that the Jets are favorites. That the Jets are actually going to be down as a win. But I just think the fact that the Broncos are already going down to that level of quarterback, and the Jets are still, relatively speaking, apart from their safety? I can't remember his name, but they're still relatively, for a terrible team, still at relatively full strength. And I think for a bad team to be losing some of their key players and for a bad team to still be at full strength, it probably matters. So I'll probably go with the Jets. So
I'll also just throw in, I know it's only week 4, but I've yet to be wrong with my pick of the winner of Thursday Night Football. So we'll see if I can keep that trend going tonight.
We spent way too much time talking about that game.
All right. So you want to go on to the next one then? Or do you want to keep talking about it, Frank?
No, I do not want to. I didn't even mention Darnold's name, and I was happy about that.
All right. Well, now you got the Cardinals at the Panthers, and the Cardinals are 3-point favorites.
I'll be quick on this one. I don't think this is a particularly good game either. I think this is like a slight overreaction to the Cardinals losing to the Lions last week. I think this line should be a bit bigger. Kind of surprises me because the Panthers are okay, but I think the Cardinals are decent to good, so I'm going to take the Cardinals to win and to cover the spread. I think the spread should be more.
Yeah, I'm with Eddie. I mean, it's not much of an – I think it's too much of an overreaction that the Cards lost to a very, very talented Detroit Lions team.
I assume you'll be picking the Lions later then, Frank.
Oh, no spoiler alerts, Eddie. No spoiler alerts. But seriously, I mean, I don't. They should be like 5-point favorites. So I'll take the Cards to win. I'll take the Cards to cover. Carolina doesn't have they have a much worse pass defense than Detroit. So Detroit kind of shut down Murray a little bit. So I don't see that happening again. And having Murray be able to throw, especially to Hopkins, leads the NFL. Did you know that, Eddie? 356 yards.
Yeah, 32 carries.
Yep,
it is worth saying with Hopkins that he has missed practice this week. So there is a slight possibility that he doesn't play, or that even if he does play, it's with reduced time. So just worth factoring that in, but still,
yep. I'll go Cards and Cards.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think the Panthers win last year. There was a lot of last week against the Chargers. There was a lot of turnovers in that game as well. So I think coupled with the overreaction of the Cardinals' loss, I think that's a pretty good spread. So I'm going Cardinals and cover the spread as well.
Hoping for my free Dunkin' Donuts coffee on Monday.
Oh my God, that's become such a thing now. So next game, I'm going to ask you if you haven't already seen, but what spread do you want for the Ravens at Washington?
I've already seen it, so I'll remove myself.
Frank, what spread do you want?
I've seen it as well.
Oh, great.
I would.
You have to at least admire our honesty, Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I would take like 13, maybe.
Oh, wow.
That does sound like a good idea.
What do you think? 12.5 or 13.5?
I'll say between 12 and 14. How about that?
One number. Fine. Okay. So, Frank, I'm going to put Washington down, but do you think that spread's a bit unfair on them?
Oh, wait. Are you saying that you think I'm going to pick Washington? Because there's no way I would pick the Redskins. Eddie told me this morning.
He's done it again. He's done it
what?
again.
You can't. You
You
don't
said
even
the
know.
R word, Frank.
Oh,
You
do you want to know what I have written down on my thing? Do not say Redskins.
and you just did it again.
Well, I know I'm explaining that I did it, but I didn't get that far into my notes to see that. The footballers, as NFL Network would call them, I don't think they stand a chance. Their run defense is bad. The Browns ran up against them. Kyler Murray ran up against them, and you're going to see the Ravens just destroy them running-wise. I can't imagine, especially I think Eddie told me this morning that Chase Young is out. So, that's another injury that they don't even have a good pass rusher because they already have one or two other ones out. So I think this is going to be a Ravens blowout. What really, really is going to piss me off is I can see Lamar Jackson throwing up huge numbers and then everyone jumping back on the Lamar Jackson bandwagon after he got shit on by the Kansas City Chiefs last week and showed definitively to me that he's not an elite quarterback, especially not an elite throwing quarterback.
Wow.
Definitively. Oh,
Everyone always knows the most defining moment of your career is like 3-4 years in a week 3 matchup. That's when people will never forget that moment.
No, it's a big Monday night matchup against what potentially could be your next rival for the next 10 years in Patrick Mahomes. It's like a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning kind of thing. That's what everyone wants to think it's going to be. So in those matchups, yeah, you're right. It's a week 3, whatever. But it's one of those big primetime matchups against one of the other elite QBs where you're going head-to-head. And once again, he's now 0 for 3 against Mahomes and has looked terrible trying to pass the ball.
Hold on.
Wait, could I just add something as well? Like, Frank, if that game went the other way around, I imagine you'd be saying that that's exactly when you would want to lose the game in a week 3, and Mahomes will come back when they probably play in the playoffs better because of knowing more about that team, etc. Like, I would say that's exactly the time where Lamar Jackson would want to potentially have an off day passing wise in a week.
No, losing the game is one thing. He did not look good throwing the ball at all that game. He missed about 6 deep balls. I think it was 2 for 12 with passes over 10 yards. It was like a ridiculously bad number. But just watching it, I mean, even his short throws weren't that great. He was throwing behind receivers. He was like leaving receivers out to dry. He missed at least 2 deep touchdown passes. Like he is not a elite throwing QB. And I'm tired of people saying, like, look at the stats he put up last year. Everyone says you look at his stats.
Hold on. Let's not turn into one of those talking head shows where we straw man it. I don't think there's many people out there saying he's an elite throwing quarterback.
Okay, well, real quick. I'll just throw up his numbers. His QB rating, which is an indicator of not running, it's an indicator of throwing, is 113 in the regular season. That is better than just about any QB out there. So that would suggest he's an elite throwing QB. But when you dig deeper into those stats,
it would suggest he's an elite quarterback.
That doesn't count running.
Right, but the QBR will factor in turnovers, for example, and the fact that his
QBR is 83.
Okay, but you still see like there are elements because of the style and the approach that the Ravens have with him. It means that he's less likely to throw an interception. There's all sorts of things there that will impact the way the rest of his stats are interpreted. And so, look, I don't think there's anyone out there saying, me, I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan. I don't think there are people out there arguing that he's an elite throwing quarterback. I think there are plenty of people believe he's an elite quarterback. Those are not the same thing.
No, people definitely think he's a great throwing QB, and he is against absolutely shit teams. Right. But when you put him up against a good team,
we're dropping to the worst form of sports talk, which is like people say this and these people are wrong, but they are unnamed people. So, but look, it was a bad sign for him. I think the game plan is there. We discussed it actually at the beginning of the year. There is a way to beat the Ravens, which is to put him in a situation where you acknowledge the fact that he's going to pick up 100 yards, even 150 yards on the ground, but you're going to make him throw. And that's what the Chiefs did. They put like 9 men in the box at times. They played man-to-man. They just tried to put him in a situation where if you're going to beat us, your arm is going to beat us. We've seen teams do it to him in the past, in like other seasons, in the playoffs. And so far, he's yet to come through. But he is still young, so I'm not gonna write him off. And I'm definitely not going to say that his career is going to be defined by a Week 3 game. His career is going to be defined by what he does in the playoffs. And so far, he's failed every time he's been in the playoffs. Not in the first game necessarily, but well, yeah, but those are more important to me than the Week 3 matchup he had that no one is going to be talking about 10 years from now.
Oh, they will. Oh, they absolutely will, because you know it's going to be 10 years from now? Mahomes is 10-0 against Lamar Jackson. They'll be talking about it for sure. They already are.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to. If we can create a prop bet of will Mahomes go undefeated against Lamar Jackson in his career, I will take the no, and I'll be very, very confident. Because I also like that you put it as if it's like just Lamar Jackson v. Patrick Mahomes, that none of the other factors matter.
Are you two done? Because I've got all day. I'll just sit here. Okay, what's the prop bet then? I doubt, if you're going to it's going to be a lot of years of friendship that we'll have to
I'll forget about it. But what I will say is I'm taking the Ravens. I always like teams coming off the back of a defeat. I think when a good team, the kind of bounce back approach, I think more often than not, it's a good move. On top of that, Haskins, actually, when you look over the last 2 seasons, when he's had pressure, he's been sacked more than any other quarterback in the league. And the Ravens like to blitz, so he's going to be under significant pressure. So I think, when you factor all of that in, then you have Chase Young out, which is obviously going to hurt the Washington defense. Then, I think Ravens to win is obviously, to me, is an absolute lock. 13 points, obviously, once it goes double digits, a little bit unsure, but I still think they'll cover.
Yeah, that's always been my problem, is those long spreads. But, the Colts did it pretty easily, and actually a couple of teams this year with the longest spreads have done it, basically. So I don't see a reason how Washington can stop the Ravens playing their game. And I'm with Eddie. I like a team that bounces back from a loss, and I think the Ravens will do exactly that. So I'll go with that one. What's next? We have Browns at the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are 4.5-point favorites. Eddie?
I'll let Frank kick this one off because he's pretty opinionated when it comes to the Browns.
It's a tough one. I went back and forth on this several times. I am pretty opinionated on the Browns. I don't think they're that great, but I also don't think the Cowboys are that great either.
Officially, according to you, Frank, not a playoff team, the Browns, declared on Sunday.
Yeah, yes. I don't think they're
which is tricky because the Steelers also aren't a playoff team, according to you. So something weird is going to happen in that division.
Something's got to give.
When I say that, I know what that means, as if they're not going to make the playoffs. But what I'm kind of saying is, even if they do make the playoffs, they're going to get smoked in the playoffs. Like they're not of a caliber team that will succeed in the playoffs. Just the way they're so hot and cold, I just could never trust them to win a competitive game in the playoffs. But the Cowboys defense is awful, and I think they're going to leak a ton of yards with Chubb. And I think if the Browns just do the smart thing and run the ball, which they're effective at doing, and stop worrying about getting Landry and poop emoji the ball, then I think they do well. And I think this will be interesting because this could make the Browns go 3-1 and the Cowboys go 1-3. And I'd really like to see that. So I'll go Browns, and I think the Browns obviously then will cover the spread.
I am going to agree with you on the outcome, but we totally disagree on the strategy the Browns need to take to win this game. Because the big weakness of the Cowboys so far this year is their secondary. And so for the Browns, this is such a great opportunity to get Landry and OBJ more involved in their offense. For example, they have Trayvon Diggs starting for their secondary, the rookie for the Cowboys. He alone has given up 223 receiving yards to the player he's covering through 3 weeks. So just if you just went into this game and you said we're going to throw to whoever Diggs is covering, you're probably going to have a good day. So I think they need to turn to the air. This is a good opportunity for them to get that going. Also, I think the one thing the Cowboys have shown so far is that they're going to score points. So if you go into the mindset of you're going to run the ball and have slow drives, and then the Cowboys are going to have 3-4 minute drives where they score a touchdown, you're going to be under tremendous pressure that you're never, if you stall once or twice with your run game, it's not going to be good. So I don't love it, but I'm taking the Browns, but they have to have a turn to their passing game.
I'll also say I don't think the Cowboys are going to score as much as they have against the Browns. The Browns are a decent defense, and Falcons were a terrible defense. We can get to that later.
But even
their defense,
even if you say they're not going to score as much as they have been, that still means they could score 24, 28 points.
Yeah,
They've been scoring like 40 a game.
And also Prescott's stats are crazy. He's nearly got 1,200 passing yards, which is more than almost anyone has in a week 3. But they're still 1 and 2.
And a game-winning interception.
Yeah, well, they're still 1 and 2. The great thing about the Cowboys, right, is they're good entertainment. So I imagine this game being good entertainment because not only do the Cowboys put a load of yardage on offensively, but they also give a lot defensively. And going on to the points you both said, I think the Browns will put on points here. But simultaneously, the way the Cowboys have been playing, I fully expect them to do exactly the same. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'll probably take them to cover that 4.5. So...
How did you use the word load with the Cleveland Browns and not throw a joke in?
It's the smart move, though, Sam. I'm not overly sold on taking the Browns, but I think the Cowboys are actually better than their record shows so far.
Yeah, the good thing about it is it'll be an exciting game. I think that'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Colts at the Bears. So the Colts are 2.5 point favorites. Is anyone going to topple this Bears team?
Yes.
Yes. This week. The Colts. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is I think the Colts are just significantly better than the Bears, even with Foles starting at quarterback now. So to me, this is an easy one. I think the line should be a little bit bigger than it is. The fact that it's under a field goal, it's really nice. And yeah, I'm going to take the Colts to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, the Bears are 3-0. And if it weren't for the fact that both the Lions and the Falcons choked miserably at the ends of the games, and the Giants almost came back at the end to beat them, they could just as easily be 0-3. I don't see them winning this game. This is one where Phillip Rivers is going to shine. And the other thing to think, too, is I didn't even realize this. The Colts have the number 1 defense, which is surprising. But they've played the Jets and the Vikings, so maybe it's not that surprising when you look at who they've played. But I think this is going to be a much different defense than the Bears have been used to the last few weeks. I'd like to see Foles do well just because I'd like to see Trubisky sit on that Gatorade cooler a little more. But I don't think it's going to happen. I'll take the Colts both ways.
Yeah.
Here's my only question for this. Sorry, Sam, but maybe you can answer this to start it off. If the Colts absolutely blow out the Bears, should Trubisky get his job back?
You have to assume that's a conversation they've had with him already, right? It would be pretty shitty if after what happened, they didn't sit him down and say, listen, we're going to go with Foles, and these are the conditions that we're going to stick with him with. Because at that point, then you're just being an asshole to Trubisky. Because it's not like he's a bad person or anything like that. Like he's clearly trying. He was almost 3-0, 2-0 going in, and you'd feel bad if he's kind of just on this string that he doesn't even know exists. And it's like, oh, we're going to put you back in. Oh, well, even though we put you back in, we're still going to start Foles the next game. or now you kind of played good, so maybe we'll play you. You gotta. I think you just have to be honest with them and either tell them, we're riding Foles out now for the next 3 or 4 games. We'll reassess in week 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think a single game, like a single blowout like that, should change because, like I said, it was more the publicity of how they did it as well. You can't like throw someone out of a game like they did last week, get blown out the next one, and then just change it again. There must have been some sort of at least medium-term plan to what they were doing with that when they dropped him out of the game. So I don't know. I think even if they're massively defeated here, I don't think it will change anything.
So who are you taking?
Well, you can only take the Colts, right? I mean, just ignoring the Jags, pretty embarrassing opening.
There's 2 teams to pick, Sam. You can take either one.
No, Eddie, there's not. There's only one. The Bears have chosen not to field the team.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the Colts haven't exactly played anyone spectacular, but simultaneously, I think they've looked pretty good, both offensively and defensively. I don't really understand how the Bears have done what they've done. I guess they've had some pretty good collapses within the fourth quarter to help them out, and it's made the Bears look a little bit better because of it. But 2.5 points seems low for me. I was expecting this to be more like 4.5, 5.5. So yeah, for that reason, I can see nothing else except the Colts win and covering that spread.
Eddie, who has the better QB in that game?
I'd still rather have Phillip Rivers for now.
Is it close?
It's pretty close, though.
Yeah.
All right. Another cracker. Jaguars at the Bengals. And this is one of those strange ones again where the Bengals are starting off 3-point favorites.
Sam, let's have you kick off your Joe Burrow love fest.
I've actually backed the Bengals quite a bit now, and there's always a slight concern because they're favorites to actually keep going. But without saying too much on it,
I think you said the Jags are 3-point favorites and the Bengals are 3-point favorites.
Oh, sorry. The Bengals are 3-point favorites. Sorry if I overspoke. But yeah, that's the problem, is that the Bengals are 3-point favorites. And it's been a little bit easier to get on that kind of Burrows and that bandwagon when they've been down. But to be honest, he's posted some pretty good stats offensively. Like, hasn't thrown an interception yet. Seems pretty good in the pocket. I think he's posted some really good stats for dropping back, and he seems like he's got a pretty good completion rate and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take the Bengals, and I'm gonna take them to cover the spread. I think the Jaguars are bad, and so I'm just gonna go with the fact that I like Burrows as a QB. Can't say too much.
Oh, is that you like Burrows as a QB in quotation?
Yeah, as opposed to like a running back, of course. Yeah.
But when he says QB, he means cute. He means cute boy.
Oh, I thought you said cute butt.
But I'm also spelling cute like cute. Yeah, like not spelling it with
it's cuter that way.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it.
Kind of looks like a vampire when he gels his hair back like that. You ever seen him?
I'm going the other way. Joe Burrow has looked fine. I think people are talking him up a little bit too much for a team that really at times has struggled to put up points so far through the first 3 weeks. And I think the Jags looked really bad last Thursday against the Dolphins. At the same time, the one thing they have shown is that they can score points. And so on that basis, in the battle of 2 bad teams, I want to take the one that I think is more likely to score 30-plus points. And in this instance, it's definitely the Jags. So I'm taking the Jags to win, and I'm taking, obviously, then Jags plus 3 too.
Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. I'm going to go Bengals. I'm getting on the Sam Joe Burrow love fest train. The Jaguars have the NFL worst, I guess I don't know how to even say this. The teams they play against, their QB passer rating is 118, which is not good. And they only have 3 sacks over 3 games. So this is the perfect. What?
Because we have to factor into those are like Fitzpatrick had a great game against them. And okay, that is probably not a great sign for them, but Fitzpatrick every once in a while just has great games. So I think he completed his first 11 pass attempts against them on Thursday night. I think he had completed his previous 9 or 10 attempts from the week before, the final 9 or 10 attempts. So in total, he'd gone on like a 20-21 sort of streak where he completed every attempt. It's just the kind of weird thing he does. I wouldn't read too much into, the Jags, like the passer rating of opposing quarterbacks is so high, just because I think in that.
Well, what about 3 sacks over 3 games?
That's pretty bad.
That's kind of worrying. So I just think this is the chance for Burrow to finally get get that nice win.
Thing is, they won't need those sacks when Joe Burrow starts throwing interceptions this week. So,
well, I'm gonna go Bengals. I'm gonna go Bengals to cover. It'll probably be a tie in the spread, and that's gonna be my bet of the week. I don't know, Sam, if you can actually get this because I couldn't see it in my player props. Burrow over 300 yards passing.
That's your bet of the week.
Bet of the week.
Okay. Well, whilst I record that, you guys can talk about the Chargers at the Bucks. And the Bucks are 7-point favorites, which seemed a little high for me. But what do you both think?
I'll be quick on this. The Bucks defensively look really good. Tom Brady looks a little bit over the hill. And I think he's a bit flattered by just the weapons he has around him. Should we say frail, Frank? Just throw the frail out for the...
He doesn't look frail. I mean, he's on the TB12 plan, so theoretically they're all about anti-frailty. So,
well, he looks, he looks supple, but unfortunately that's not going to help him.
Is he a C cup now? Is that what you're trying to say? Tom Brady's a C cup.
Hold on, you never read his book? That's what he's all about. It's all about getting supple. That's his.
No, I've never heard that.
Why does he have to be weird?
Yeah.
Why does he? It doesn't have to do this.
I think Bill Belichick probably asked him that every day for the final 10 years of their time working together. But yeah, I mean, the saddest moment for me from the last week was there was a moment when Gronk was wide open in the end zone and he just overthrew him by about 5 yards. And because you can picture in your mind the two of them in their prime, it was just this moment where you were kind of watching both of them age on the field. Now, obviously, Gronk had managed to get himself wide open and actually looked pretty good last week. But even Gronk, you kind of saw this look on his face where probably in his mind thinking like, the old Tom would have definitely found me there. But
Eddie, do you think Gronk can think at all anymore? You sure the look on his face wasn't, where am I?
That's a good point. He might have been reading a little bit too much into his facial cues. But that all that being said, the Chargers looked really bad, I think, last week. And I'm going to take the Bucs just because I think they're good enough to win this game fairly easily. And I'm going to take them to cover the spread, just because I don't think the Chargers are capable of putting up much over, say, 20 points.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I completely agree with Eddie. Bucks have a good D. Offense doesn't look great, but they're still stacked, and you kind of hope eventually they'll start clicking, even better. Herbert looks good. My boy is looking good for a rookie, but I think the Tampa's D is going to crush them. So I'll go Bucks and Bucks to cover.
Okay. I'm going to go against you. I think I saw that Tampa lost Chris Godwin. So I know they've got a lot of people to throw at Brady, but it just stunts it a little bit. I think Chargers look pretty bad, like you said. I think they've got defensive problems anyway, and they've got a lot of injuries as well, I think. But it's one of those games where it's like it has the capacity to either be that 7 could look really easy and the Bucks could really easily do it. But I could also see the Chargers maybe putting up a much better performance. So I'm torn between whether saying the Bucks. I think that actually, I tell you what, I think the Bucks will win, but I do think the Chargers will cover that spread of 7. I think that's probably how I see that. I think it'll be a closer game than it suggests.
The spread is difficult. I mean, anytime you're getting over a touchdown, it becomes a little difficult to pick. But I just think the Bucks are a much more veteran, solid team than the Chargers.
I think they both could potentially claim, well, the Bucks will definitely claim to be a potential team with the way it's starting to gel at the moment, but I think the Chargers probably could potentially see themselves as that, and I just think a 7 on that basis just seems a little bit strong. So I think the Bucks will win, but I'm not sure if it's by the 7. So I'd rather kind of go against it.
Hey, we're not going to talk you out of it, Sam. I'm always happy to see you pick a loser. So don't worry.
Yeah, we need to keep crawling back.
Thanks, especially when there's money on it, right? Well, no money, but all right. The Vikings at the Texans, and the Texans are 4.5-point favorites.
So I'm wondering.
I'll start us off because.
I was just wondering, is this game definitively going to be played?
Well, I heard about that because it's apparently the Vikings basically all completely self-isolated, and that's one of the problems with this, right? Is that they haven't had much time to prepare because of the Titans issue.
I know now it's still on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be played, but it's a little bit hard on harsh on the Vikings that another team tests positive, and as a result of that, they didn't get to practice for a couple days. So, in a way, the way the league is approaching it means that a team that kind of has done nothing wrong is actually the one that loses out the most, because the Titans are going to get to postpone their game, and meanwhile the Vikings have to play, and yet basically on a short week that shouldn't have been a short week.
Also, why is that a postponement? Like, what is it, 8 players from the Titans tested positive?
Well, I mean, I guess we may as well talk. They're talking now that the Steelers-Titans game may be played on Monday.
No, it's pushed back now.
Are you sure? I read this as of 2 hours ago.
I thought I got a thing this morning that said it's going to be pushed back to later in the year.
Oh, I saw even today they were still discussing the prospect of playing it on Monday.
It won't be played in week 4, it says.
But why aren't the Titans, why isn't this a forfeit? Surely, I don't know what the NFL rules are, but surely if there's some level of, if it was like 5 players on the Steelers, 5 players on the Titans, I get it. But this is all Titans. So surely there's some sort of they all signed up to some sort of code that must say that there is a breach there.
And but what if it's like the trainer did it?
But
then is it fair to the players? Is it fair to the players that the trainer tested positive and then infected 6 players?
But it's the club, isn't it? The club are meant to ensure that everyone employed at the Titans is COVID secure, I guess, for lack of a better word.
That's tough.
I don't know. I just think it needs to be, because one game like that. So let's just say, for example, some of the Vikings players came out and tested positive, right? And then you have a second postponement. You genuinely then have to have a conversation about whether you pull the league for a week or something like that, right? If you have 2 games in a very quick succession from people flying around left, right, and center, then going out into their usual communities and all that, you would probably have to start opening those questions. So I think there's a real knife edge feel to it. And surely for that reason, the Titans, I feel like they should be punished in a way. But I don't know what you guys think.
I'm torn because obviously they agreed to do the league, and the risk, you would have known coming into it that people were always going to test positive. That was always going to happen. At the same time, it does seem that the team that doesn't, as I said, the team that gets punished the least is the team that tested positive, and then other teams. So obviously the Vikings have had to have then a week where they didn't practice as much as they would have wanted to, so they haven't prepared for this game properly. And then you have the Steelers, who are probably going to be a playoff team. They have the possibility now late in the season in crucial games, when they might have a run of a couple of important games, they now have to stick another game somewhere into there. And this could obviously happen to other teams. You might suddenly have a team where they have 2 games they need to win to make the playoffs, and those 2 games are going to be played within 4 days of each other or something, whereas their rivals get 7 days off. That to me is what makes it tricky. Forfeit I think if you have 2 incidents, if this happens to the Titans again, it should be a forfeit. But the first time it happening, I think the league just had to accept that there were going to be positive tests, and to punish people that harshly would have been, because here's the thing: is they're not going to forfeit a week 17 game, right? It's easy to say forfeit now in week 4 because the implications aren't obvious. But if it was a situation going into week 17 and the Titans needed to win to make the playoffs, and they were just like, nope, forfeit, you're out of the playoff, season over, sorry Titans, that would seem too harsh.
Yeah, I just kind of like what I was saying before. I think it's just harsh because you don't know the circumstances upon which it happened. I agree. For instance, if it turns out 5 of the players went out drinking the 2 nights before the game, and we're out at the bar or something like that, and they're the ones who tested positive, and they're clearly breaking protocol rules. That's fine. But I mean, the thing about what's been going on in the past 8 months is you're seeing it's pretty easy to spread, and there's going to be leaks everywhere. So it's a little unfair to punish someone for, who knows what happened. Like I'm saying, it could be something as crazy as, like a valet driver or something like that infected one of the players, and then he didn't know, and then that player infects 7 people. So, it's a little circumstantial. If something were to come out that it was clearly a rule-breaking instance that caused it, then yeah. But I think there are going to be random cases that people are going to get it unknowingly and without breaking specific protocols. It's going to happen. So, I mean, look, I work at a university, and we have all these guidelines in place, and kids are still, infecting each other and doing things, going into classes and infecting people, and you don't know. So
like the way
tough.
You say it, the way you described it makes it seem as if they're going in and like intentionally, they're like stabbing people with needles. They're going into those classes and infecting. I know what they should. I'm not trying to downplay the seriousness of it or that you. No. Stop. It's just funny to hear the way it's being described.
Yeah. No, it is funny, but because for instance, one of the things that students are doing is they're testing positive, and then hacking into their apps that are supposedly supposed to warn other people, and turning off their apps and still trying to go to class even after they've tested positive. So now if you're a teaching assistant of that class, right? If you're a teaching assistant of that class and you are following all the rules where if a kid tells you they've tested positive, you tell them not to come, and then you all of a sudden are positive because a kid snuck into class after testing positive, then is that his fault? If that were kind of the scenario, is that the Titans' fault for something like that happening? There's all these crazy things that are happening.
I've got one real question for you. What has happened to today's students where they're so desperate to attend classes?
That was exactly my point.
When I was at university, I would have been trying to test positive. So then it's 2 weeks without class. Perfect. This sounds amazing.
Yeah. Eddie tested positive for HIV 8 separate occasions just so he can get out of exams.
Yeah. Never failed. That's how I got my law degree.
Wait, testing positive on 8 separate. I mean, if you've got it, you've got it, right?
I just have it. I just have it. Don't worry, Sam.
We need to donate Eddie to science if he has recovered from HIV 7 times.
Did you see that? Did you see that in the news? The first guy to fully recover from HIV died of cancer. I mean, what a blow!
Is that real?
Yeah. The first guy
first official guy, because you've done it 7 times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not counting. But yeah,
it was quite a depression.
No, actually, in a sense, he was diagnosed with leukemia before he had the bone marrow transplant. That was part of his treatment to overcome HIV. And actually, from what I understood, they'd actually hoped that the bone marrow transplant would have actually also been beneficial to his fight against leukemia. And so it was kind of a treatment for both of the issues, but ultimately it was leukemia that got him.
That would be crazy to say be treated cured of HIV and cancer, and then say walk out and get hit by a car or something like that. It would just be...
I mean,
Sam, we call that life.
Yeah, I mean, not to
really, Frank, is that what you consider life? Recovering from 2.
Not to
that's life.
Not to make light of the situation, but you could imagine a situation in a doctor's office where he's like, "I've got good news and I've got bad news," and you're just
you
you've beaten
Which
HIV,
one do you want first?
You've got really bad cancer.
Imagine if he was one of the people that asked for it the other way round as well. Give me the bad news. It's well, you've got cancer. He's like, oh my God, I've got AIDS and cancer. Oh, you haven't heard the good news.
No, it's like you've got cancer. Oh, but my AIDS is cleared? No, you still have AIDS. But I saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to Geico.
Oh, wow.
And this podcast episode is brought to you by Geico.
All right.
The person who... But just to round this off, the person who must have been most disappointed about this is that this didn't happen like 25 years ago when Alanis Morissette was writing Ironic, because that would have been just
I hate that song.
Perfect line for her.
Nothing about what she says in that song is ironic. It's just unfortunate. Anyway, I'm going with the Texans. I just think the Vikings, complete lack of preparation. They're already one of the worst defenses in the league. I think this could actually be a much, much bigger score than the 4.5 points suggest. So I'm going Texans with the 4.5 point favorites.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'm going to go Texans. I can't bet with the Vikings anymore. God, they're so annoying. I mean, my only worry right now, the Texans, the first half against the Steelers, they put up over 200 yards, 3 TDs. The second half, they put up like 40 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception and another turnover. So as long as the first half Texans team can play an entire 4 quarters, I think they should have no problem with the Vikings. So I'll take them to win and to cover. And they have to win eventually. I mean, they did this, was it last year, right? They started out 0-3. Last year, I think they started out 0-3. And then came back to win their division. Yeah, you could say that about both teams. But I guess the Texans have precedent for doing a slow start and then picking it up later on.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both of you. Last week, I asked for Kirk Cousins to be pumped directly into my veins, and he did cover the spread. And so that worked for you.
He's still got
You're considering that a win.
He's still got leftover Cousins blood.
and topical, right? We've just spoken about diseases that it would have required me to be hooked up to an IV. So I am once again going to hope that bag is just filled with Kirk Cousins. And
that sounds worse. That
Vikings.
Sounds so awful.
I'm going to take the Vikings to win. And obviously, I'm taking them with the 4.5 points.
Bag of Kirk Cousins. Okay. Saints at the Lions, and the Saints are 4-point favorites. I mean, Frank, the Lions are your team, right? So you're kicking us off.
Lions are my team. Few would have expected these teams to come into Week 4 with the same record. Am I right? Everyone would have thought Lions 3-0, Saints 0-3. I mean, I'm not the only one.
Oh, what a curveball!
This is tough. The Lions need to keep winning for me to be confident that they're a playoff team. But Michael Thomas might be back. That is a huge boost for the Saints because their offense, while looking better last week, still has not looked great. They are very scared to throw the deep ball. And teams, I think, are just going to start loading up on the box and targeting Kamara and stopping him. So I will go Saints to win, but I will go Lions to cover the spread. I think it's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions win, but I'll go Saints, and I'll take Lions. 4, I think, is a good amount. The over here is going to be interesting. I think it's pretty high. It's like 53. What do you have? 53, 54, but I mean, the Saints, the Saints are letting up a ton of points, and the Saints can score a ton of points. So if it's going to be a close game, it's going to be probably over 60.
Yeah, I think the Saints so far over 3 weeks, you've got to question them when they're on the road as well. I think I'm going to go with the Lions here. And obviously
welcome aboard. Welcome aboard the Lions train, Sam.
I got stung, but also, as Eddie mentioned at the start of this, right, we're starting to get some data that I can look back on, and the Saints are stinging me when I've gone with them, and they're stinging me in annoying ways as well. And I just don't think. I think the Lions are running the ball a bit at the moment, but I also think Stafford's also one of those quarterbacks that can have a really good passing day. And I just think I struggle with the Saints at the moment. And it's more sentimental and it's more on my past, but there's got to be upset somewhere, right? So I think that's probably one of them there. So I'm going with the Lions.
Eddie, do you want a ticket? We'll give you a discounted rate. First class on the Lions locomotive. You want it?
I thought you were going to give him like a discount spread then. And I was like, no, I'm not giving him like 3.5 or anything like that.
No, I'll give him a discounted rate. I'll give him the assurance that he will not be seated next to an infant, which he always does on his train rides.
Well, Sam, much like you, I have also been stung repeatedly by the Saints this year. But I would much rather be stung by the Saints than mauled to death by the Lions.
Wow. Oh, that would have been better if it was like a B part of the Saints. Like,
well, I'm really sorry that I'm sorry I couldn't have it better set up, right? But this one is easy for me. I think this is where the Saints start to look like the team people expected them to be. I mean, Drew Brees is done. Don't get me wrong, but I think even 5.5-yard completions will be good enough to beat the Lions.
So you think you're going to be blessed by the Saints?
Oh yeah, and there's just in a Matt Patricia versus Sean Payton matchup, I am not taking Matt Patricia. So there, to me, it's easy. I would take the Saints -7.
Okay.
Ooh. But I'm definitely taking them to win this game. I don't think it's going to be close.
Are you going to be excited for more Kamara runs, Eddie? Evading tackles like he's dancing. He's just dancing down the pitch, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, if you can also guarantee to me that there's going to be multiple missed tackles every time he picks up a ball, then I'm even more confident.
Well, I can kind of guarantee you that it probably will happen.
Frank, you won't know this, but seemingly Eddie was in such a rage that he needed to send it to me and be like, "This is unreal. The missed tackles are unreal." Like,
I sent it to Frank too.
No, I know, but if Eddie said something to me directly as well, rather than like in our chat, it means that something's up. Eddie's not happy. But
I would have done it in the chat, but the issue was it was an Instagram video that I saw that was praising how he was evading such an elusive runner, you know. And so that's what pushed me over the edge.
Runner in the league.
I mean, we're saying Breeze is done, right? And they've let up 31 points a game, the Saints. So are we saying that Breeze is going to score more than 31? Eddie's saying they're going to score 38 plus with the 7.
I don't think the Lions are going to score 30, but yeah, I think the Saints are going to score 35 plus. My real question here is
30. They score 40.
My real question here is just to flip it. If you are both right, well, I guess Frank thread the needle on the winner and the spread. But say the Lions do win this, do you have a serious conversation about Jameis Winston taking over the job from Drew Brees?
No.
Okay, that was more convincing than last week.
Yeah, we've already kind of had this. To me, if he loses this, I'm pulling him.
I would put in Taysom Hill before I put in Winston.
To me, Taysom Hill is the kind of quarterback that he is used as now, which is this kind of utility player who gets the occasional snap. I wouldn't want him suddenly being under center for the entire game. So I would rather put Jameis Winston in and then have Taysom Hill still as that weapon. But I can understand if the progression was to Hill. But to me, if they lose this game, Breeze loses the starting job. It won't happen, but
you'd be a hell of a coach to do that.
No, you'd just be Eddie.
You'd just be Eddie, heartless Eddie. I mean, Eddie, you got the pick last Thursday, so you can kick us off with this one. Are we going to see some more Fitz magic? Seahawks at the Dolphins, and the Seahawks are 6.5 points favorites.
No, we're not. Here's the thing: is Fitzpatrick might still put up some big yards just because the Seahawks defensively are awful.
I mean, he's putting up 500, right? That's the average. We're saying that the Dolphins are putting up 500 yards in this game.
Under 500, I will say, but they will. But the Saints, the Seahawks. This is a good matchup for them. The Dolphins run a lot of man coverage. And I think with the wide receivers then that the Seahawks have, that's not going to pose any issues for them. They're going to have people open all the time, and so I'm pretty confident that they will continue to score a lot of points this week. As I said on Monday, I'm not confident they're going to be able to do that for the full season and postseason. But yeah, this week I'm confident that they'll win and cover the spread.
Yeah. I'll agree. I think Seattle is the much better team here. Statistically, they do have the worst pass defense in the NFL, but you're going up against decent teams they were playing that could throw the ball. The Dolphins aren't as good. from a quarterback standpoint and from a receiving core standpoint. So I will trust Russell Wilson. Let him cook. Just let him keep cooking.
I mean, what's he thrown? So like 15 touchdowns in the 3 weeks. So averaging 5 a game. Yet simultaneously the defense is so bad that they're letting 500 a game yardage. If Fitzpatrick, he's prone to errors. But if he plays well, they're going to put up a big score. It's almost irrelevant because the Seahawks will probably post a bigger score. But the Seahawks don't blow teams away. I think in the last 3 weeks, they haven't blown teams away. They've just put up slightly more points than the other team. And for me, this is going to annoy me, and I know you guys will bite me back, but the Seahawks will win, but I think it will be closer than 6.5 suggests, because I just think they're so defensively prone to letting yardage that they can't get away from teams. And for that reason, I'll probably take the Seahawks, but I think it will be closer than 6.5 suggests, just because it's ridiculously unpredictable, but the Seahawks don't blow teams away. So,
cool. Another one back in the contest.
At least I get the money line on it, right? So, Frank, you can kick us off. Giants at the Rams, and the Rams are 12.5-point favorites. Do we talk about this, or are we all just going Rams 12.5?
Oh, I'll go Rams. Pretty easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be quick too.
Goff looks good. I'll be quick. Goff looks pretty good. The Rams offense looks good. They're passing well. The Giants, I've said it week in and week out, they have the worst secondary in the entire NFL. I don't care about statistics. You can just look at them. They look terrible. I would take -20 even maybe. So.
Really?
I wouldn't go as high as -20, but yeah, I'm taking the Rams both. The 12.5 to me feels as if it's kind of around the right number. So it almost tempts me into taking the Giants with the points, but I'm going to take the Rams.
You sure? You don't want the Giants, Eddie? You can take them.
No. I've made that mistake once so far this year, but no.
I'll also just point out, because I hate Dave Gettleman, and I think he's an absolute idiot when it comes to drafting. He picked Andrew Thomas as the offensive tackle when he had other ones on the board, and he swears by how good he is. Only 3 games, I understand, but after 3 games, he has let up the most QB pressures in the entire NFL. And every other tackle taken after him has about half the amount he has. So another phenomenally terrible pick by Gettleman.
I think the good thing about this spread as well is similar to the Ravens one, is that it must have hurt the Rams losing like they did to the Bills, right? Up 28-3? It was crazy. So I think this is one of those games where the Rams just won't let up on the Giants, and they'll completely...
No, the Bills were up.
Sorry, wrong way. Yeah, wrong way around.
The Rams fought back.
Yeah, but it must smart to lose a game like that, to just fight back the way you did and still lose it. And I just think they'll have a point to prove, and they'll just put the Giants to the sword completely. So, yeah, I can see this being an absolute blowout, to be honest. So, yeah.
So you're doing the Eddie pick, picking a team after a loss.
Yeah. I just think...
Loves it. Smart. Always a good move.
It is a good move. What's up next? Speaking of Josh Allen's Bills, they're at the Raiders, and the Bills are 3-point favorites. Eddie?
I'll be quick here. I've been riding the Bills all year. I'm not going to stop now. I don't believe in the Raiders at all. I think they've been flattered by some of their recent scores and wins, and I'm going to take the Bills to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, Raiders look pretty poor defensively. I'm all about Josh Allen, right? Can't stop now.
Oh, who do you like more, Allen or Burrow is the question.
Oh, that's tough. I need to meet him.
Who's got the more cute butt?
And also, say hypothetically you had both of them at the same time.
Oh wow!
Which one would be at which end?
Eddie, it's getting hot in here. I don't have a window open. Are you asking how would the Eiffel Tower work?
Exactly. Who's getting the mouth?
So you've automatically assumed that Sam's the
middle
portion.
Okay, spit roast Eiffel Tower, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go... I think Josh Allen...
Oh, you're giving me a real answer.
Don't answer this.
I think
we're going to lose 5 viewers from this.
I think... No, this is more general. I think Josh Allen is a less gentle lover than Burrows.
Wow.
I'm going to go
what a headline.
Allen at the front.
I now know what our Instagram picture for this episode is going to be.
Interesting. That is the type of football analysis that you will get nowhere else.
That's true.
Yeah.
The variation, how we've all got to the same Bills covering the spread is very different. Oh.
Some podcasts may tell you Josh Allen is a tough guy. Some may even tell you he's a tough lover, but none of them will ever tell you where he would lie in an Eiffel Tower situation, except this one.
Yeah.
We're finding our niche.
Essentially, game of the week. Pats at the Chiefs. Chiefs are 6.
So I went Bills for that one as well.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I think game of the week, right? Pats at the Chiefs. Could have argued that the Steelers-Titans was game of the week because both are 3-0, but Pats and the Chiefs seems like the game to watch, right?
In a weird way, I would actually say the game of the week is kind of Cowboys-Browns. Not because it promises to be the best game, but because there's kind of more on the line. There's a lot on the line here for the Pats just because if the Bills win and the Pats lose, it starts to become hard for them to win the division. But there's not a lot on the line here for the Chiefs. I do think this is really nice for them to play the Patriots the week after having played the Ravens because you've just had to deal with one mobile quarterback and you're going into a system. You're playing kind of a similar system the following week. So that's sort of nice for them in terms of preparing. I'm disappointed because this line was 7 and it's moved to 6.5. I'm happy about that because I'm going to pick the Chiefs. So it dropping under 7 is nice, but I'm disappointed because I had the stat that this was only the third time.
I had it too.
The third time in 18 years that they've been favored. They've been underdogs by 7 or more points. So
mine's a little different, Eddie.
Oh, really? What was yours?
It's been 19 years since the Pats failed to cover as a 7+ point underdog.
Yeah, I guess though, when you then know my stat and that's they've only been underdogs by 7 points twice. That's not that meaningful.
Yeah,
but I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs as well, and I think they'll cover that 6.5. And I actually had I think a similar point, really, that they're playing against a quarterback that plays very similar to Lamar Jackson. And for that reason, I can't really see how the Chiefs would somehow underperform against what is not a hugely worse team, but a slightly worse team, given similar circumstance, similar environment, similar everything. So I think 6.5, and I think they'll cover it.
Yep. I'm going to go Chiefs to win, Chiefs to cover. I can't wait to hear, because I'm sure we will, that the Pats are going to do the let's run the ball and slow the game down to slow down the Chiefs. And I still to this day really don't understand what that means because, yes, maybe the Chiefs won't score 45, but if they score on 90% of their possessions anyway, they're going to score less, but they're still going to be scoring the same percentage-wise. So unless you can still keep up with them, even though you're slowing the game down, if you can't score every drive as well, then you're going to lose no matter what, whether it's, the Chiefs scoring 40 or the Chiefs scoring 30. So either way, I think the Chiefs are going to win. And now that it's under 7, I definitely think the Chiefs should cover that.
Next game's Eagles at the 49ers. The spread's 7-point favorites for the Niners. I think I saw that, Mostert, Garoppolo, and Kittle might be back. Is that true? If so, the 7 seems crazy.
I think Kittle for sure. Garoppolo maybe, and even I forget how you say his name.
Mostert.
I
think Mostert and Jimmy G kind of don't matter that much. Even Kittle, when you look at how they managed to, I actually think in the long run, some of these injuries will benefit the Niners because it's made them get other receivers involved in the game in a way that they wouldn't have done. So in some ways, towards the end of the year, they might look back and be happy about the fact that they were missing, now not Bosa being out for the year and those things, but in terms of having Kittle gone for a couple weeks and all of that they might be happy about that come sort of the playoff time. I'm going to take the Niners, and it's more just a reflection of the fact that I watched almost all of the Eagles game last week, and they were so bad.
They are
That
just bad.
It's just difficult for me to imagine. It kind of seems like a classic game where they'll now bounce back and look pretty decent. That's kind of often how things work. And the 7 points is right on the edge of where I feel comfortable with the Niners. But still, the Eagles just looked awful, and their energy is really bad, and that to me is the bigger thing. I think a lot of them are already checked out and have accepted the fact that even though their division is still all to play for, I think a lot of them just know they're not good, and so I'm going to take the Niners and to cover.
Yeah, do you guys want to take a guess for the league's lowest rated passer so far?
Well, I mean, because you're bringing it up now, I'm going to guess it's Carson Wentz.
Wrong. No. Yeah, Carson Wentz. I don't see that changing much against a good Niners defense. I'll take Niners and Niners to cover. Yeah. And I hope Jimmy G doesn't come back because Nick Mullins is better anyway. So
across the board then. So, final game, but I think what will be good is probably to get the Steelers-Titans opinion anyway, but Falcons at the Packers. So, I mean, the question is, how late in the game are the Packers going to be behind before they win?
Yeah, I don't think that scenario is going to happen again, but I will say I'm going to take the Packers to win, but I am actually going to take the Falcons with the points. Okay. Just because I think the spread's a little bit high, and the Falcons have shown that they can score. So at that moment, I'm a little bit worried to start to take a team to beat them by more than 7. I mean, because they have shown that they're in every game. But yeah, the Packers have looked great so far this year. So I'm not gonna pick the Falcons to actually turn things around and hold on to a lead, but I'll take them with the points.
Okay. Samesies. I think Packers will win. Falcons will cover. This, I thought, to me, because I do my teasers and I like to have the final one be the Monday night game. And this is one of those classic ones. What is the current spread right now?
So at the moment it's 7. Oh, do you mean
7?
Right now it hasn't moved over. So.
Okay, 7. So would you rather have Packers -1 or Falcons +13?
I know it sounds odd because I've taken the Falcons with the points, but I'd rather have the Packers -1.
It's a really tough one because I'm the same way. I'm taking the Falcons to cover the spread, but yet if you offered it to me that way, I kind of almost want to take the Packers -1.
Well, I just had to say, which would I be more surprised by? The Packers winning by 10 points, say hypothetically, 10 points, or the Falcons winning? And I'd be more surprised by the Falcons winning than I would be by the Packers winning by 10. So on that basis, I would rather just know that I just want the Packers to win.
I'm going Packers, but I go against you. I think they'll cover that spread. Not much to say, really.
Glad to hear it.
I just think it's tough. I just think it's tough with that Falcons team. I just don't think they understand how to win with that problem of the collapsing that they keep happening. And I just think for that reason, then I don't know. I just can't see it. I can't see it anymore. I haven't actually backed them that often as you two. So I think I would say you guys are probably doing it more on like your past bets. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers to cover that spread. I think Rodgers looks great, and I think that'll be to the Falcons' detriment. So, do you guys want to give your Titans Steelers, or does it not matter?
I would have taken the Steelers, but I'm not going to go too in depth.
Do we put it in there because when they do play, we run it against week 4?
No, because I could make my pick now, and then you tell me when they play, like Big Ben's out, and I don't want my pick to be locked in.
Big Ben's dead.
That's the anti-post choice you make, non-runner. No bet.
Okay, yeah, I've got Big Ben as a non-runner.
Non-runner, no bet. All right. So I guess what's your pick? So Frank's gone Burrows. What is it, over 300?
Yeah, I love it.
A couple of lines you teased in there already. Which one are you posting?
So my bet of the week is going to be, I'm going to go for another one of my little accumulators. But I'm going to take the Colts to win, the Saints to win, and the Seahawks to win. And that pays 3.37.
I like the Colts as well. I think that's a pretty good one. I'm going to go to Bengals. Bit of Burrow's magic there.
Man, you love the fucking Bengals.
That's really bold.
It's really interesting. I just think it's going to be good value against the Jags. I just see it there. To be fair, I wouldn't even know what else really. There's a couple of other ones I like, but I'd probably just actually take the Colts on the spread and the Bengals to win outright. I think that'll probably pay like a 2.5 to 1. So, yeah, I'll probably go with that as my pick.
You have to find me what the current odds are for Burrow over 300, or we might have to wait until Sunday to see it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to wait on that one. A lot of the player props don't come up until later on.
Yeah.
And now that I've tipped it, who knows what it's going to come out as?
Oh yeah, the line's definitely going to shift.
Yeah. All right. So which one are you guys watching? Like if you had like a star game to watch there, Browns.
Early game, I'll probably mostly focus on the Browns Cowboys, then the Chiefs Patriots, and then obviously the Niners Eagles.
Cool.
Yeah, for me, I have to watch the Giants, unfortunately. So, but that is the afternoon game, which is nice because there's not many afternoon games, except you said the Chiefs
Patriots is an afternoon game.
Yeah, so that's fine though, because then I can put the Chiefs on the TV because I'm sure that one will be on CBS, and then I can just put the Giants on my laptop so I can smash my laptop and break it.
The Bills Raiders is the other afternoon game, so that's a pretty intriguing game as well.
Yeah,
I think for me, I want to watch the Dolphins Seahawks. I think that'll be a good one. I think we've got a massive score there, so I think I want to watch that one.
And I just want to say, if my bet of the week wins, because they're all early games, I'm going to then advise rolling it all over onto the Chiefs, Rams, Bills money line. So you could kind of think of it as a six. You could kind of think of it as a six-fold, but it's not really. But that pays 2.43 on that threefold.
So you don't fancy the six-fold?
I sometimes like the idea that you separate it, because even though it's 2 3-folds, I feel mentally as if you're less likely to win a 6-fold than you are to win 2 3-folds. There's absolutely zero logic behind that, but it's just the way I feel in my head.
There's a superstition coming.
Why don't you also just throw in the Niners in there?
Yeah.
I'm leaving the Niners out from. I'm calling them a soft stay away for most people.
Oh, Eddie, not so confident on the Niners anymore?
Niners Nation's going to be furious when they hear this.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get a feeling, and this is one of those weeks. Just have that feeling.
You've got a feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
You ruined my eardrums with that pitch then.
Just before we go to the ARC preview, because I know that we'll have a lot of people interested in our picks for that, just worth noting, I'm sure Sam has seen, but maybe Frank, you haven't, that there was the Champions League draw today for the group stages. And we don't need to go into too much detail about it, but I will say, interesting that Juventus and Barcelona have been drawn in the same group, which means that Messi and Ronaldo will play against each other for the first time in the group stage of the Champions League. So that's the kind of highlight. But apart from that, a few other interesting matchups with PSG being in the same group as Manchester United. And also you have Real Madrid and Inter Milan in the same group, and Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid in the same group. So a few sort of marquee matchups in the group stages.
Real Madrid and who?
Inter Milan.
Oh, okay. And when does that start?
Oh, once they're back, they have the international break coming up, and then they go back, and so a couple of weeks away.
Okay.
The one thing that's interesting to note is usually Manchester City are tremendously unlucky with their groups and just their draw overall, but this time they've actually been given a fairly easy group with Porto, Olympiacos, and Marseille. So at least Manchester City might be in an opportunity to have the chance to kind of occasionally rest players in the Champions League group stages, which would be new for them, and also progress relatively easily.
It's kind of like a Europa League tricky group, isn't it, that one? And then Man City is like the standout.
Although Liverpool have also have a relatively easy group in that they got Ajax, Atalanta, and Midtjylland. And although Atalanta did well in the Champions League last year and Ajax over the past couple of years have been consistently good in Europe, you'd still say Liverpool will look at that and think that it's relatively straightforward.
So which one are you marking as like the group of death then?
I would actually say the PSG United group, because you also have Leipzig in there. So that's a tricky match. Apart from that, it's tough to pick out a group where there's three really difficult. There's obviously tough top two, but it tends to drop off for the third or fourth place teams. For example, with the Juventus Barcelona group, I don't think either of them will be worried about playing Dynamo Kiev or Ferencvaros, however you're supposed to say it.
Ferencvaros, yeah.
So I think the PSG United Leipzig might be the only time where you think that one of those three could finish in the top two and sort of disrupt the two you'd think would be favorites on paper.
Yeah, there's some awkward groups though, like the Zenit group. It's pretty weak. Dortmund are like the standout team, but it's one of those ones where like they're all equally good to average. So it makes it like an interesting group, because you think Dortmund will win the group, but honestly, below that, Bruges are all right. They beat Madrid in Madrid last year. Zenit is always difficult to go to those Russian games, especially when it comes to like the winter. Like no one goes there. No one wants to go there. And then like Lazio is always a tricky team anyway. So it's like, I always find that, I wouldn't call it a group of death. It's not like the difficult teams, but they're all difficult for each other, I think is probably.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the what you would think are the least interesting groups in a way are the most interesting. But yeah, no, it's hard to pick up that group that has three sort of top quality teams. But yeah, no, should be some interesting matches from it. And with that out of the way, I guess we can really get onto the big event of the weekend and do our ARC preview. I know that both Sam and Frank are really disappointed because the horse that they've been eagerly waiting to watch run in the ARC is not going to be there in Gaiath.
Yep.
Then the horse
and my second favorite horse I wanted to see in the ARC.
Yeah, it has been with you.
So Love is also out. So it's maybe not the all-star cast that we spoke about a couple months ago, but I still think it's a very good renewal of the ARC. And I guess, Frank, you've spent the last 4 or 5 months talking about how bad Enable is. It's now very much a firm favorite. So who are you picking to win the ARC?
This is a really tough one. It's the first thing I will say is I think from now on we're going to have to cool our jets in our 3-month ARC
lead
reviews.
Up. Yeah.
Calling it the greatest ARC ever, because we've definitely cursed that. So for me, you have obviously Enable, who now definitely should be the favorite. I mean, that's without a doubt. She deserves to be favorite. From there, you're looking at 2 mystery horses, I would still say, with O'Brien. And Eddie can give us his Aidan O'Brien stats, but Mogul sometimes looks like it could be a great horse, and then other times completely shits the bed. So I don't know if you have a lot of trust in that horse, considering it's got to have shifted down now to what, 3 or 4 to 1. I don't have the odds.
Stradivarius is the firm second favorite. So it's Stradivarius who money is coming for, in a sense, in opposition.
Yeah.
To Enable.
Yeah.
So just getting back to the O'Briens, I mean, you have Mogul, and then you have Serpentine, who, had that crazy derby where it went out and never looked back. And in its comeback run in France, it didn't look great. But, which is pretty surprising for Aidan O'Brien, he was out before the race even saying, look, this horse desperately needs this run. Mm-hmm. Don't expect that much. We're completely prepping it for the ARC. Does that kind of worry me? Yes. But in the same breath, I still don't believe that Derby victory is a legitimate superstar horse victory. I think it was just one of those ones where everyone was caught by surprise. So out of those two, I don't know if I take any of them. I probably would have taken Stradivarius just because I like the story and I really love the horse. But it's shifted so much now that I don't know if it's worth taking a horse that we know so far this year hasn't won at that distance or a distance close to that.
Not just this year.
Races.
Not just this year, ever.
Ever.
You're right. It's not an issue that
it's been seriously tested this year to see if it could do it.
The ground helps it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's true. I guess that's a good fact. Is the ground helps it. If it continues to rain and it gets softer and softer, then a horse that has that extra stamina could be effective.
The ground staff have already come out and said don't rule out heavy. I think. Well, Eddie's obviously in Paris, so he could probably give us the forecast. But apparently there was like 18 millimeters.
Eddie, can you stick the stick out?
Yeah.
Can you put the stick in your cobblestones?
What is it called? Like, have you seen what they do? It's like a penetrometer. It's called, or something like that. Where
it's like a stick, basically. Almost. Yeah.
But it's called like a penetrometer.
No, Sam. The penetratometer is what you use.
Who would get to use that? Joe Burrow or a?
Well, that's actually Josh Allen's nickname, the penetratometer.
Oh, it's heavy ground.
But so just to give you, Sam, because you obviously kind of started off by looking at the O'Brien horses as kind of as a starting point of where to break it down. Just to give you the current odds on his set of horses, you have Serpentine at 11-1, Japan at 12-1, Mogul at 14-1. And then you have
what was Serpentine?
11-1.
It's the shortest price of the O'Brien set, and then you have Sovereign at 40-1.
See, I kind of like Mogul then at that price. Out of those, I mean, it won its trial at the same distance on the same course.
I think the ground really matters, and Mogul has won on nothing except good. I see. This is weird because it's actually going to sound hypocritical when I say this, but I feel like there has to be something with Serpentine, right? There has to be something with that Derby performance. Frank said exactly what I was going to say about the fact that O'Brien came out and said, look, desperately needs to run. We always thought of this horse as a horse that likes a bit of give in the ground. That's how they saw Serpentine getting developed. So they think it's probably good on soft ground. They don't know because it's only had 2 runs. But they supplemented him with a lot of money. And after that race, O'Brien said, I will only supplement it if they think it runs a good race in that. I can't remember the name of the race, but it got beaten by 4 lengths in Paris. And
the Grand Prix de Paris.
That's it. And there has to be something, right? Aidan O'Brien, there has to be some level of confidence. Like, I know it's drawn high in the stalls as well, which is traditionally seen as a disadvantage. But I think the fun fact I saw, trying to remember if this is right or not, I can't remember if I'm mixing up my stats, but the last horse to win the Derby and the Arc was Golden Horn. And Golden Horn is still the same as Serpentine in this race. And so it shows that it can be.
The issue with that stat, though. Golden Horn was just a much better horse. That's the thing.
I think.
Well, we don't know.
I think there's an unknown quantity about Serpentine. And the thing is, O'Brien is talking him up. O'Brien is talking up Serpentine.
Hold on.
But also, they're putting money.
No. I need to nip this in the bud of it. O'Brien talks all of his horses up. O'Brien coming into this race is saying, people, don't give up on Japan. The reason why Japan is coming to this race is because we still think it's a top quality horse that will win Group 1s. He's saying, okay, Mogul got off to a bad start this year. We still believe in Mogul. Even if it hasn't proven itself in these kind of conditions, we like Mogul a lot. Serpentine, it's what O'Brien does. In a way, he sticks all these horses in the race. He speaks positively about all of them. And then no matter what happens at the end of the day, if one of them wins, he'll say, oh, yeah, we always knew that.
I mean,
it's worth noting that Ryan Moore is choosing Mogul over Serpentine.
I mean, Similion was already on Serpentine, right? Like before.
Yeah, but I mean, Moore gets choice.
I mean, even he came out Christoph Sumida, he came out and said, I don't think this horse will have a problem with what he described as very soft ground at the time. I just think, here's the thing, right? Stradivarius is a bit of
What
an
I
unknown.
what I need to know here,
distance.
you're talking it up. Are you picking it to win, Sam, or are we spending all this time for you to tell us you're not
Okay.
picking Serpentine?
Yeah, okay. No. I am picking Serpentine to win. And one of the reasons being is that I actually think there's several things that go against Enable at that price. I think, what is it? 1 in the last 100 arcs have been won by a horse over the age of 5. Enable 6. Has Enable run against anything this year? No.
Well, yeah, it did, but it lost.
As the ground gets softer,
Hold on a second.
Wait. I'll make the final point.
No, because you can't make points that aren't true. It thoroughly beat Japan, and Japan is 6th favorite for this race.
But I think Japan's terrible. So this is my analysis of it.
You know who doesn't?
So
Aidan O'Brien.
Another thing I'm saying is that is an old horse. Enable, relatively speaking, for winning arcs is an old horse at 6. It's going to retire after this. If that ground keeps getting softer, are you saying that horse is going to be 5-4 or should be 5-4 when it hasn't been tested? And when it was tested was when it was 80%, as you said, against Gaieth. I don't think you can back a horse at 5-4 on that. It may win. It probably could. It probably should. But I just think there's too many variables against it at that price. If the ground keeps getting softer and it's meant to, I think there's a case for it being a younger horse, a more unpredictable horse, and maybe more of an unknown. And that's why I think I'm going with the Price and Serpentine, which may come back and bite me, and it probably will. But I'm going with Serpentine for that reason.
What a surprise. Sam picks the phallus-shaped named horse.
You think a serpent is phallus-shaped?
Well, in the sense that it's a snake in your pants, right? Like that's
Okay.
But look, okay, let's break down some of what you just said. To me, the only O'Brien horse that can be taken seriously in this race is Mogul. Everything else, you're really just going on total unknowns. Well, in Japan's case, it's not an unknown. You're just assuming that it's a better horse than it's shown over the course of this season. But
yeah, I don't know how you can back Japan. I don't know anyone who at this point would say I'm backing Japan.
But to me, the issue with Mogul, it's not proven to be necessarily great on this ground. It's not consistent. It rarely has back-to-back good runs. So in a weird way, the fact that it won last time out is almost more of a concern this time out. Serpentine, I'm just not willing to roll the dice on a horse that's been raced 3 times in his career. Just not doing it. And last time, okay, it looked. When you break down the sort of sectionals of its times, it looked decent, and it was the only horse that was up with the pace that finished anywhere close to the winning horse in Mogul. Still finished considerably further behind Mogul.
About 4 lengths, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the idea that it's got a lot to find on a horse that most of us don't think is going to win the race. So that to me is a little bit of a challenge. Enable is probably a little bit too short, but it's still the most likely winner. And that to me is the issue. I would bet that on the day, at least in the UK, it's going to go off odds on. We've seen Enable race in very heavy ground and handle it perfectly well.
As a younger
the
horse.
arc last year, a year younger. The arc last year was in heavy ground, and okay, it finished second. But I don't think anyone would turn around and say that Enable didn't handle the ground.
Yeah, but it's a year older, and I haven't seen it do anything pre-race that suggests that it will save
all
that
of
challenge.
All of its times right now match up perfectly with its performances at age 4 and 5.
Okay.
So I guess the other thing is, what about the French horses? You know, I think more often than not, right, the French horses are winning this race. You know, besides Enable, which is kind of the anomaly here for winning the last few.
Is it Scott Sass? Is the kind of best priced French horse, right?
Yeah, and Scott Sass has looked okay this year. You know, it's been in some big races and done okay. I mean, its last race, though, it wasn't too great. It was behind Magical and Gaieth in that Irish Champion stake. race. So maybe that was just a stepping stone. I'm sure that they were full steam for the ARC. I can imagine that was their main target. So maybe that was just a stepping stone, and now it's much more fit for this race. But if that's the best Irish horse there, is that going to be good enough to beat Enable?
I think Success is one of the more likely winners apart from Enable, but I was pretty disappointed. Its last two outings have not been good. So I know that a couple months ago I tipped it as a sort of likely outsider. I don't have a lot of confidence in it based on those last two runs. I didn't see a lot there to like. And I think that's true of a couple of the other horses that I maybe would have been tempted. There was also Rabia or Rabia that finished second in the Vermeil last time, which is a pretty decent ARC trial normally. And it was off the pace and picked up reasonably well, but I don't think there was anything there to indicate that it's going to progress from that to being an ARC winner. The really interesting horse in this race to me in a way is Persian King. Okay. Persian King is totally untested over this distance. It's the reverse of Stradivarius, right? So you've got Stradivarius dropping down, and you have to hope that as the ground gets heavier, maybe the stamina becomes more of a question. And it kind of plays into Stradivarius's hands. With Persian King, it's stepping up in distance, and I don't know why you would think that a horse stepping up in distance and then going to be in really testing conditions is going to be able to beat world-class horses over a distance they prefer. So Persian King's like relatively short in the betting, and the only reason I can think of that is it's because it's Andre Fabre, and he's won the ARC 8 times. So if you're just kind of going based on trainers, he's the one to back. But it seems kind of, to me, when I look at it, it just feels like he otherwise he wouldn't have had a horse in the race, and it just feels like he threw in a horse that he thinks has maybe a modicum of a chance as just a way of actually being able to turn up on the day and says he has another horse in the ARC. But the Persian Kings, to me, that's the price when I look through all the betting, that's the price that stuns me the most.
Stuns as in how like
low it is for never having raced.
How short it is, basically. Okay.
Yeah, and then given also the conditions, right? I wouldn't back Persian King at 40 to 1. So the fact that you see it in some places around 14, that kind of blows my mind.
Well, I wouldn't back it at 45 to 1, Eddie, so fuck off.
Well, when you look, for example, to me, one horse I like as an each way bet is Way to Paris, who's had his best season. I mean, it goes against everything you think, Sam, because Way to Paris is 7 years old. So everything based in your logic should hate it. Yeah. But had the best season of its career, well tested and proven in these kind of conditions. Yeah. So I think you can get it around 40 to 1. And so as an each way bet, I think that could be an interesting one.
Yeah. I think this kind of ground throws up potentials like that. It makes it more unpredictable in that sense. I think, I could see that. I'm not agreeing with it, but I can see your logic.
So Sam, you're going Serpentine. I'm going Enable. Frank, who you picking as your single winner?
As my winner, or what would my bet be?
Who do you think will win? Ignore the prices. Who do you think will win?
I think Enable will win.
Oh, God, that must have hurt you to say.
Are you worried about the curse, Eddie?
A little bit, but what are you going to do?
Enable will not lose. Now are you worried?
Because when it's not genuine, it doesn't matter.
Wow. It won't lose because it will be withdrawn.
Yeah, I think Enable's the most likely winner.
So Eddie loses all his money because it's withdrawn.
And then, no, I've got no non-runner, non-bet on all mine. And the other race, I mean, there's good races across the card on Sunday and Saturday, but the other one that really, two more, I guess, but one in particular that really catches my eye is the Prix de la Forêt, where you'll have another horse going to try and win a race at Longchamp on ARC weekend for the third time, which is One Master that has won this race the last two renewals and now is going for the third. But Earthlight is actually favorite. And you also have Safe Voyage as another interesting one from coming over from the UK. So a really interesting race. I quite like Safe Voyage given the ground conditions. I definitely don't like Earthlight, so I'll be taking it on with both One Master and Safe Voyage. But it'd be interesting. I know, Frank, you've been a little bit of a fan of Earthlight at different moments this season.
Yeah, I'll stick with Earthlight. I've been burned so many times on One Master this year already. What's it got? 5 seconds this year already?
It's due.
It's due. Yeah. Maybe it's due, but I can't trust it. And I think Earthlight will come back to what they thought it was going to be in being a top sprinter, 7 furlong horse. So I'll stick with Earthlight.
Did you manage to get your media tickets, Eddie, for Longchamp?
No, they ignored me. Worth noting on this one, actually, interesting stats, which I've seen in several places about this with the Prix de la Forêt, when you're mentioning 7 furlong horses. The Prix de la Forêt is listed as a 7 furlong race, but actually isn't 7 furlongs when you map it out. So it's closer to 6.5 furlongs. Just worth keeping in mind for a horse like Safe Voyage that tends to sort of like to sprint from a distance, that actually the stamina, it's saving a couple hundred yards in that situation.
Is that just a mess up by whoever measured it out the first time?
Yeah. Is that like some sort of like historical error that is just maintained? Or?
I think it's probably one of those things that they maybe set the race up at a time when, I mean, they've been at the same track for forever, right? And even with the renovations, they didn't touch the actual course. It's probably one of those things when they just at some moment just called it a 7 furlong race, and then the fact that it's off by a couple hundred yards, they thought probably didn't matter too much, but it might.
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting one, really, isn't it? Especially when horses, it's really a blowout at those kind of 7 furlong marks.
I guess it's one of those things that means that if on Sunday you back a horse and it just loses, but then overtakes the eventual winner, a couple strides after the line, I guess you can call your bookmaker and try and argue that it actually won over 7 furlongs.
I would love, you would be exactly the person in a bookmaker to do that.
Hey, give it a go. You never know.
Yeah. Imagine like Ollie and me in the bookies just absolutely not listening to you.
But I mean, I think there, as I said, there's other great races going on. So, and we can't go into detail on all of them. So it's going to be a great weekend in Paris. But one person who will probably be having a tamer weekend in Paris this time around is Oisin Murphy, who it went public today that he failed a drugs test in Paris, a test that was taken in Paris, in France in July, and he was notified in August that he'd failed this drugs test for cocaine, making him the 4th high-profile British jockey in the last sort of 15 years to fail a drugs test. Interestingly enough, almost all of them went in France, so it seems that British jockeys go to Paris or Chantilly and go on these wild cocaine binges, which somehow I've never come across them in. I'm going to the wrong bars. I want to go to some of these bars where these tiny millionaires are just doing lines of coke everywhere. But,
I was gonna say you're about 1.5 feet too tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I've been there and I just haven't been able to see them.
It's even better when they do it with the horses, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is a tough one. I mean, he has come out very strongly denying it, and has even called up several of different people in the industry that have decent relationships with him, and told them privately, that there's no way that this is real, that this is something with the tests gone wrong. It's a false positive. He then, I think, obviously they're going to do the B sample and test that, but he's also given additional samples or something like that. So he's very adamant.
He independently had tests run on his hair that he paid for, and he had himself filmed having clippings taken from his hair and then the test being done. And supposedly the cocaine traces would have still been in his hair had he been failing the test from sort of 6 weeks prior or whenever that test had been taken. And his B sample hasn't been tested yet. But he very firmly denies ever having used cocaine. So,
in fact, he denies having ever used any drugs. Was, I think, his statement. He's never used drugs before, ever. And to me, he is the person I would kind of trust his word on. He doesn't look like someone who's ripping lines of cocaine in a Paris bar at night. He's been great for the sport in the sense that he's very public on social media. So I obviously follow him on Instagram, and he puts videos up a lot, throughout
Frank,
the days in between races. And
I think why he's public on Instagram. Why? He's public on Instagram so that when he goes into a club, people recognize him and they give him free little baggies of coke.
No, but just watching what he does on Instagram, he seems extremely dedicated to the sport and not the type of person who, like other people who have tested positive, mainly Frankie Dettori, looks like someone who is enjoying being the celebrity, being in the limelight, being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Whereas Murphy, whereas Murphy kind of looks like, the professional who's just doing his job day in and day out. So I mean, I'll take his word for it, whether we'll see. The only thing that makes me nervous, as I've pointed out to Eddie several times, is the person he's kind of taken up as his mentor that he does post with on Instagram, albeit not out, but, when they're in the weighing room and the changing room, stuff like that, is in fact Dettori. And it looks like Dettori's kind of almost taken him under his wing to be like his apprentice. So in that instance, it's very, very worrying. But the fact that he's come out so strongly, that would really, really backfire if he came out that strongly. And
it's a bad look for him if it turns. Now, here's the thing is, I don't know what happens if his B sample comes back positive as well. He can appeal it and everything, and I don't know what the hair follicle tests will do relative to the test that was sort of carried out by the French racing authorities. He also could find himself, because the ban is 6 months if he is found to be positive. But he could also be in a situation where he's just banned from racing in France, but allowed to race in the UK, depending on, because obviously it's two different authorities, so they might interpret the situation slightly differently. So that one's going to be an interesting one to watch. He's also lucky in the sense that he gets to appeal whatever decision is made anyway, and he'll be able to race pending the decision of his appeal. So he's going to be able to race out the remainder of this season and not miss out on any of the kind of big races coming up with Champions Day and stuff midway through October. So he's lucky in that respect. I got a question for you then. Which jockey would you be most surprised by if they failed a cocaine drugs test?
Just flats. Because jumps, I'd probably have a few.
Jumps, they have to be on cocaine to do that.
just flat racing.
I mean, is the elephant in the room here Ryan Moore? I mean, I can't imagine him. I can't even imagine him understanding cocaine.
But maybe that's why he shies away from the limelight, and maybe that's why he doesn't like interviews, because he's just absolutely tripping balls. And so he just hates being put, his paranoia and stuff really sets in. So he doesn't want to be filmed on camera while he goes, "Oh, it was really good beating that dragon in this race."
I can just imagine this scenario where, like, Ryan Moore, we see him every day when he's not on the horse, because obviously he's mellowed out, he's not on cocaine. But actually him going absolutely mental whipping a horse might be the effects of the cocaine of Ryan Moore. Is that he's not actually a jockey. It's just when he gets on a horse, he just likes to absolutely smack it.
Yep.
Yeah, Ryan Moore would be a good one, I think. Holly Doyle. Does Holly Doyle look like the
Holly
Doyle user?
Holly Doyle might, but that might just be a weird way, an element of sexism that I think that a man is more likely to do cocaine than a woman. But yeah,
well, I don't think that's sexist. I think the statistics show that.
No, I know, but you still see what I mean. And when I'm judging the individual in the same industry that I'm, but yeah, probably, yeah.
But she doesn't seem like a druggie.
No.
I'll tell you who I could see. William Buick.
Wow, he
He's got that like Godolphin vibe with him where like he flies private. You know, he's always on like these fancy charters going to Dubai all the time.
He's a victim of connection. I was going to say he's a victim of connection because all he does is rise for the light of prestige. And I imagine he's probably a victim of the environment that falls him in.
To me, there's one obvious pick, though, as a likely candidate. And that's Doyle, because I could imagine just Doyle raging on cocaine, shouting the Doiler and telling people to call him the Doiler as he slaps them really hard on their back.
The Doiler. All right. Well, with that little cocaine infused segment, shall we end on that?
Yeah, it's also worth saying that all of that was just pure speculation and not based on anything, right? We don't want to get sued. that was just us playing a little fun game and just guessing different names.
Guess the cocaine on the jockey.
Have we lost our only chance to have Ryan Moore on?
Or did we just get our best chance to have Ryan Moore on?
It depends how much cocaine we can give him.
All right, well, good luck in the bets this week. Be interesting to see what Enable does. A lot riding on this for Eddie, I believe, more than us now.
I mean, the biggest thing that's riding on it for me is that I, feel like it's one of those horses that everyone's similar to Potash in that sense, where you feel like you have a real attachment to it. I also do to Stradivarius, but because Stradivarius isn't racing on the sort of in a situation in which I expect it to win, I'm not going to be disappointed to see it lose. To me, it will just be more. It was really disappointing watching Enable lose in the ARC last year, and it will be disappointing to see it again. Just be kind of a sad ending to a very, very good career.
Good luck.
And good night. Talk to you boys later.
See ya.
Be real.